That's God's love. Thank you, Krista, for this gracious reminder. God is love. And the greatest is what?
Love.
Great. Month of love, isn't it? It's Valentine's month. Oh, that's what you tell love for this one. Okay. Thanks. It's a Valentine's month. Month to do with love. Valentine's is all about love. Look at the red color, isn't it? Doesn't that speak love? Love, 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 love. We've been talking so much about love. We're tired of it, aren't we? No, you never can get tired of love. Those little words, those few words, those 3 words, I love you, just mean the whole world. Who doesn't want to hear them? We all want to hear them. If you don't hear them, we say, you haven't told me in the past 3 years that you love me. They're precious, precious things. And how much more must it mean something to us when the author of our lives says to us, I love you. So we embark on a threefold study of love in the course of this month. And today we shall look at love's virtues. God permitting, next Sunday, see what vices come out if you insist on love, stay in love. Then how love vivifies, brings to life, and then how love safeguards, the vanguards of love. So those are the 4 areas in which we'll look. But today we'll be looking at love and its virtues. Let's look at 1 Corinthians in chapter 13. Very familiar passage. How many times have we looked at it? Again and again and again. Again, 1 Corinthians 13. Yes, again. Let's draw some benefit from it. Verse 4. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy. Love wants not for itself. Very old English, eh? Love is not arrogant. Love does not behave itself unbecomingly. Love does not seek her own. Love is not easily provoked. And love does not think evil. Love does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. Bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. And if there were going to be a 4th subhead in our study of the word today, it would be buoyant. For verse 8 says, love never fails. Just come to the place with me where we are in Fantasy Island. Everybody is very nice. Nobody does anything bad. Everybody is simply pleasant. No quarrel, no fight, no disappointment, no disrespect, no disregard. Everybody is simply beautiful. That's Fantasy Island. For we know it's not so. We are imperfect creatures living in an imperfect world. How can that be? All we know is that guns here, violence there, murders there, people chopping off their heads. What a dirty world. But you see, the whole concept of love is meant to speak to the ugly world that God never intended that the world should be ugly. It's meant to be a beautiful and enjoyable place. Time without number. I've reminded you, brothers and sisters, that the word Eden means delight. And that's where the first man was planted. And the next person, the woman, found him there. It was a place of delight until they chose to make it sour by the disobedience to God. But where there is love, it's beautiful. And it is important that we capture this attitude, because the God who is love has vested himself in those who call his own, that they might be channels through which this love is expressed. And if possible, it is those of us, and it's not impossible, who call ourselves Christians, about whom it should be said, look at her, look at him. They're almost right in everything, almost perfect. But brothers and sisters, that's the call God invites us to exercise when we taste and see his kindness. In a simple African setting, a young woman lives who is simply a good woman and follows the dictates of conscience. And everybody admires her. She doesn't get easily upset. She doesn't offend anyone. She's actually very pleasant to all people. And everybody simply says, what makes her who she is? The wisest man in the village looks at her and says, have you ever seen anyone like her? She is a goddess. How can you explain somebody who is like her? Almost perfect. You see, that captures the sense in which we who call ourselves Christians should live, because this imagination that that almost perfect lady was a goddess is total madness, because there is no God but one God. But we who have tasted and known the kindness of the Lord have a living God living in us. And if there should be a people that speak the presence of God in them, it is we. And how best can we speak it? But as people who come as close to perfection as ever can be detected in a human being. And love leads us there. And that's why it says, love. And let's begin at looking at how it says to us, be good. For it says love is patient. That is, love suffers alone and long with others. Why do I get impatient? I want something done, and I want it done my way, and as quickly as I want it done. So I'm thinking me. Can't you get this thing done? When will it be done? I'm thinking my way. But actually love says, don't get offended. Don't ask, why is this person doing the thing the way they are doing? Rather understand why they are doing, and don't be offended by how they do it, when they do it, where they do it, if there is no need for that. So be patient. It also says be kind, which is only another way of saying share in their experience. For a kind person does not divorce himself or detach himself or herself from what is going on in the next person's life. They actually enter that life. Is that all? No. It says, you who are patient, you who are kind. It says, be arrogant. That's not what it says. Not what it says, isn't it? Read it. It says, be arrogant. Isn't it? I'm not looking at my Bible, you're looking at it. So it says, after being patient, after being kind, it says, be arrogant. Isn't that the next line?
No.
Uh-oh. What does it say?
Does not envy.
Don't be jealousy. In other words, don't look at others and not speak about their achievements because you'd rather they were your achievements. Don't look at others and look at their prosperity and not like the fact that they are advancing. Look at others' pleasantness and let it be good for you that it is pleasant for them. How many times have people wished it was pleasant for them, but you don't want it to be pleasant for the others? But you want others to enjoy life and enjoy it to the utmost. That's what it means not to be jealous. But don't brag. It's not easy to speak about myself and to just talk about me and be full of me. But it's actually saying selflessly support others in their personal and profound development. You see, in our society where there is so much individualistic tendency, we begin to think, I'll think about myself, and I'll think about me, and I'll think about making myself rich and full and be self-satisfied as if we can attend to that. And we're thinking about me before we think about others. And what love is telling us, no, that's not love. Love empties itself of itself and figures the next person and empties itself into that person. How many of us have done that? Would I really have problems with people who realize I think of them first before I think of myself? Isn't our antagonism really based on the fact that I'm looking for what is in there for me? And that's where it is. Because more often, this is the question, what is in there for me? And what offends us is that there is nothing in there for me. The Christ is a good example of what it is to love. You know the grace of God. That though Jesus Christ was rich, yet for your sake he became poor, so that you through his poverty might become rich. So he who is the possessor of all existence, possessor of all humanity, who owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, he who has the entire cosmos in his hand, who stretches the skies like a tent, he emptied himself to interest himself in frail, feeble humanity. And yet what we say about ourselves, I'll get nothing out of that, so I'm not engaged in that. That is what is murderous, and that is what is harmful. And love says, if you really love, that is not the way to go. Be good. Don't get offended. But don't just be good. Become even better. It's not enough that I should empty myself in the others. Become better. Yes. Look at the next verse. We just look at verse 4. Look at verse 5 and let's read it. Verse 5 tells us, love does not act unbecomingly. It does not seek its own. It's not provoked. Does not take into account a wrong suffered. In other words, be sweet and pleasant to those who offend you. Be the one who does not offend. You see, if you don't want to get offended, and if you don't want to be offended, don't offend. That's a difficult thing to do, isn't it? We who are moody creatures, sometimes we say, yeah, can you talk to so-and-so about this? I will try, but I don't know what mood he's in today. They're unpredictable. I don't know if you'll be up there or down there, wow. You see, to love is to be predictable, so that people will know that they can come at any time, and they can bump on the fact that they will not go away and say, why did I go there? They'll actually be happy to say, I am glad I did. I called, I went. The response, wow. Don't make anyone unhappy. Don't make anyone sad. Don't hurt anyone at all. Don't insist that things should go your way. Can that ever happen? God says, if you are good, then you can become better unless you choose not to. Follow easily with me. Love does not behave unbecomingly and seemingly, never rude. Haven't I been rude sometimes? Haven't I? I was a Christian man and working in this school, and my boss called me into his office at one time, and he thought I was not behaving very professionally. So I was living in this big mansion, and he says, sir, you're not behaving yourself properly, so I'm moving you from that house, I'm taking you to the lower compound. I looked at him, I was only 22 or something of the kind. I said, if I did not deserve it, that would happen. But like this, I looked at him and said, sir, you are being rude. Yeah. He says, Mr. Mutale? I said, yes. Get out of my office. I said, yes, sir. I got out of his office. But later on, he understood me, and we became very good buddies, I must say. He was my boss, but he was able to understand that my faith was not meant to harm him or hurt him or the school. And then he appreciated me. And in fact, publicly announced as members of staff, I've been crude to this character, but now I think I see things differently. For a gentleman to say that of a 22-year-old boy, oh, I was a man, 23. I bore a testimony then that spoke that even though somebody was rude to me, I was not going to offend them. Oh, at least I would point it out to them in a manner. If they did not understand, later on they would reflect on the fact that I did not mean to harm, but I meant to help. I meant them to see, I meant them to understand. You know, there are those instances where you just want to put across your thought so that the next person might just know that you feel bad. And so you want to make them feel bad. And we know we've done that. He doesn't know how I feel. Now I'll make him feel what's going on in there. Our holy book is telling us that's not love. Love does say, I'll have a soft spot, not for some people, but for yes. Be sensitive to other people's experiences. Love does not get provoked, for that's what it says. It's not quick-tempered. It's not the opposite of patience. It's patience itself. And love is sure to forgive and forget. For it says it doesn't keep any record of wrong. How many of us remember what was done to us 10 years ago? We could be friends, but you know what you did that time. It's always there. Any little thing that happens, and you remember what you did. Or somebody says, who was under imperialistic rule, we will forgive, but we will never forget. If you never forget, then I'm not sure if you are really forgiven, because the attitude will always come back. All I'm saying is, don't hold a grudge, don't hold a complaint, don't hold a grumble, because the moment you do that, you harm yourself. Just imagine those who have lumps on their throats are the ones who are uncomfortable. Those who have grudges are the ones who are uncomfortable, because the moment you see somebody you have a grudge against, you want to hide from them. The moment you see somebody you are complaining about, you are disturbed. You are not comfortable because of that thing you are holding. You are the one disturbing your own life. And our God knows better than that. And the Lord Jesus Christ, when he sees the stoners, his persecutioners, he says, Lord, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. No grudge, no complaint. And he's free because he's realistic. Have you had that release? Have you had that attitude? That's what love is. Don't just be good. Become better. Don't just be better. Be the best you can be. All you're saying is already weighing heavily upon me. How can anyone live a life like that? Well, look at the 6th and 7th verses. Let's read those. Love does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices in the truth, bears all things, believes all things, endures all things, and hopes all things. I'll mix the last two readings. Hate every bad thing. That's what the text is telling me. Hate what is bad. But hallow what is true. Lift up what is true. Think about it. If every evil thing was hated, every good thing was lifted up, none of us would come to church and feel, I don't want to see the preacher today. Or I don't want to see that brother today. I don't want to meet that one. Everyone will be looking forward. Let's go there. It's lively, it's lovely, it's sweet. I can't wait to be there. I can't. This is what church should be like. We read those stories, and Helen pronounced it when Brenda read. It was repeated of that young man who was healed. That's love. He is a man who is sick, he is healed. Disturbed, help. Problems taken away, pains shattered, sorrows removed, agony is disappearing. Who doesn't want to be there? That's what love does. And we are meant to be the channels through which that is administered. Love is that power in us that says if difficulties come, there will be an answer. If sorrow set in, there will be pleasure at the end. If darkness is there, there will be light in the end. Because it says it hopes all things, endures all things. That's why I say the end of the matter, it's buoyant. We begin to float in the goodness of God. Never fails. Who can love like that? If Jesus loves us, and we love him in return, then we can reproduce his love. But are we ready to do that? I shared this story with a few friends in the course of the week. I read from a devotional. A gentleman always went to the house of prayer at a particular hour every day. And the house was almost adjacent to the church building, the way the parsonage here is. And the minister would see this gentleman go every day. When the repetition was more than he could bear, he said to his assistant, that guy is always going into the sanctuary. Can you spy on him? Find out what is happening. And so this gentleman would actually enter the sanctuary, come close to the pulpit, and just by the pulpit kneel, then look up as if seeing something or someone, and they say, Jesus, it's Jim. And then he would walk out. There was an accident in town and he was involved in it and he was found in hospital. And he was placed in the part of the hospital where the naughtiest patients were, and the nurses dreaded going there, because they would be mocked and chided and so on and so forth. But a week after his being there, the atmosphere there changed. Everybody was laughing. And when the nurse would come, "Sister, it's my turn to get the injection." And then the nurse who went at this says, "The atmosphere is really changed. What has happened with you guys?" And in a spirit of sweetness and laughter, they said, the Lord must put a smile and sweetness and loveliness in us. Is that guy called Jim? After doing her work, the nurse was bound to ask, "Jim, this place has been a nightmare to come to. What have you done to bring this sweet spirit in there?" And Jim said, "I don't know if you understand it, sister, but this is what happens. Every morning at 6 a.m. when I wake up, Jesus is standing at the corner of my bed and he says to me, 'Jim, it's Jesus.'" Do you have fellowship with Jesus? And does he bring that calming feature upon you, that you share that with others who you associate with? For love is bringing Jesus into other people's lives. For God, who is love, has loved us in Jesus. Without Jesus, there's no love. Where is in your life? Let's pray.